We're going to read another story today out of your Ready Common Core book called Here Comes Trouble, and we're going to work on describing characters. So let's get started. Okay, let's think back to our last lesson. We read the story called Voting for Her Rights about Susan B. Anthony. In this story, we discussed the traits that she exhibited in the story of determination. That means she didn't give up in what she believed in. Intelligence, another word for being smart. And bravery. She was very brave in this story. We also identified or found her motivation. Remember, that's the reason she did something. So the reason that she was motivated for the actions, which were voting even though she was going to be arrested, was because she wanted to change the voting laws and stand up for women's rights. We also were describing her feelings that she could have been experiencing during that situation. She could have been feeling angry or upset about what was going on. And the reason that we did this is because when we describe characters, it helps us understand why the events in the story happen and why they continue to happen because of the characters' actions. And that brings us to our learning target. Today we will describe characters and describe how their actions drive the events in the story. So down here on the screen, I just showed something happens in this on this dot and it leads for this to happen, and then this and this and this and this. So that's how stories work. When characters do something, it leads for different events to happen. And then same thing in a day in the life of whoever you may be. Things happen in order because of what you choose to do, what kind of actions you have, and those actions are based on the type of person that you are. Okay, on this page, I'm showing you the difference between a character trait and a character feeling. Now, we use traits and feelings to describe characters in the story, but here's the difference. A character trait are words that describe the character's personality or a quality that make them who they are. So in other words, it would be a word that you would describe that character, how you would describe that character to someone else. So a feeling is an emotion that you would feel at a certain time, like scared, angry, upset, excited, nervous. And those feelings that you have are due to whatever's happening in your life. And feelings can change quickly. One moment you could be very excited about something, and then somebody could say something to you, and then all of a sudden you're very angry. So those would be a feeling that changes. Whereas a trait, on the other hand, isn't something that changes very quickly. If a person is an honest person, they are usually going to be honest in most situations. If somebody is lazy, then they're going to be lazy in most situations. So that is the difference between a trait and a feeling. However, we use both of those to describe characters in a story. So on this page, I have an example of a chart that I'm going to give everybody that you are going to be putting in your red reading folder that gives you a list of synonyms, remember words that mean the same thing, for certain character traits. So Ms. Jaramillo and I have talked about how when we describe characters, we want to encourage you to use what we call rich words, words that are a little bit more descriptive than maybe happy or sad or mad. So what I have on this page is I have those words, happy, sad, mad, but underneath those words are more descriptive words that we would call rich words to describe characters in the story. So this will be a resource that you will have inside of your ELA notebook that you can go back to when you are asked to describe a character. So if you want to say that a character might be happy, well, what's a better word that you can use than happy? Well, cheerful, joyful, excited. So those are some examples of how you can use this chart. On the other side of this page, I have a picture of a person showing an example of physical traits, and those are traits that you can see on the outside of a person. That's what we see with our own eyes. Like in this example, you would see that this person here has brown hair, they're tall, they might have brown eyes, they have boots on, they have shorts on, and a green shirt. So those are called physical traits. Those are the kind of things that we can describe about the way a person looks, that we see on the outside. However, the traits on the page next door are these inside traits. These are called personality traits. That is what a person is thinking, and the things that they do that we can't really describe by what we see on the outside. We would describe that as a personality trait because that's how they are on the inside. That would include their thoughts that they're having, maybe words that they say, maybe the feelings on the inside, and their actions. What did they do because of the type of personality they have? So I'm going to give you guys this character trait list so that we can have it to refer back to when we are describing characters. Your assignment for today is going to be to read the story Here Comes Trouble on page 96 of your Ready Common Core reading book, or if you're a hybrid student, you have a copy of this in your yellow folder. So remember, you're going to do a close read on this story. You're going to read it once just to figure out what the story is about. Then you're going to read it again to look for information about the type of character, or to give examples of how you would describe the characters in this story. So you can take a look at the questions on page 97 to see what you're going to be looking for as you read it the second time. So let's look at page 97. On this page, there are questions that ask you about the actions of characters, and you're also going to have to find evidence inside of the text. Then you're going to answer a talking question and a short response question. So let's look at how you're going to structure your short response. So hybrid students, I gave you a copy of this in your yellow folder, and online students, you're going to be doing this in Schoology. So looking over here at the writing prompt for Here Comes Trouble, the directions say to contrast the characters in the story. That means to explain how they are different. So you're going to tell what Pandora and what Epi do and say that show that they are different. So I'm giving you the first sentence, the topic sentence. In the story, Here Comes Trouble, Pandora and Epi say and do things that show they are different. So hybrid students, you must write that on your paper, and onliners, I put this in Schoology, and so you must type it in your answer to show your introduction sentence. The next sentence is your detail sentence. One example from the text that shows how they are different is, so you're going to go back into the text, look for evidence, how are Pandora and Epi different? You must use the sentence starter. We're practicing how to structure our paragraph. The next sentence is another detail sentence. Another example from the text that show how they are different is, so you're going to go back into the text and find another example. If you want to do a third example, you are more than welcome. But then the last sentence is, these are examples that show how Pandora and Epi are, and I'm going to let you fill in the blank. What did you just give me examples of? That should be easy, but I want you to fill in the rest of it. Okay, so again, onliners, these sentence starters are in Schoology, and hybrid students, you need to use these in your writing. So let's wrap up. Today we described, or you will be describing after you read the story, characters in the story and how their traits drive the events in the story. That means how they behave, what they do, change the events or create new events in a story. All right, good luck, boys and girls, and we'll see you next time.